house of light. May wisdom dawn in us, so we may see all things in clarity. From the north, house of night, may wisdom ripen in us, so we may know all from within. From the west, house of transformation, may wisdom be transformed into right action, so we may do what must be done. From the south, house of the eternal sun, may right action reap the harvest, so we may enjoy the fruits of planetary being. From above, house of heaven, where star people and ancestors gather, may their blessings come to us now. From below, house of earth, may the heartbeat of her crystal core bless us with harmonies to end all war. From the center, galactic source, which is everywhere at once, may everything be known as the light of mutual love. Yum Kuna Ku Eva Maya E Ma Ho. Yum Kuna Ku Eva Maya E Ma Ho. Yum Kuna Ku Eva Maya E Ma Ho. All hail the harmony of mind and nature.
It's just different.
I am the world changer, coded by the blue storm. My number is 19, the power of all number. I am the master alchemist, the force behind the philosopher's stone. Skilled at the art of transmutation. I am the catalytic transformer of world consciousness and planetary living. I oversee the changes of the weather. I am the thunder that shatters your world systems. I am the transport of clouds filled with lightning to illuminate the truth behind your illusions. I am the bringer of the drenching rains that purifies, It was I who caused the triple Aztec monuments of the Avatar archetype to appear in the ancient temple grounds. I oversee the morning and the evening stars. I behold the creator of the fifth sun, the present world. Sent forth am I to dwell among you, calling forth the sixth sun. For the great regeneration of the world's soul, to know me is to know your own power of self-generation. To know me is to know your own power of self-generation. Self-generation is power. I am the transport of clouds filled with lightning to illuminate the truth behind your illusions. I am the bringer of the drenching rains that purifies.
Greetings in Lakesh. Welcome everyone to our Sync Talk session. This is going to be a very powerful session because we are tying in surrendering and how surrendering bringeth greater opportunities that can move you forward further. My name is Neb Taharka Kanishkawak, and I am the founder and chancellor of the Synchronistic Human School of Enlightenment. And we are doing some tremendous things in the area of evolving. And we've chosen to use the Olmec and Mayan cosmology to help us pattern our mind in such a way that we access dormant forces, that we're able to tap into the extrasensory mind and the telepathic mind to be able to operate with more intelligence and have a different experience on this particular planet. So, very excited to be here and to share such powerful evolutionary knowledge. I want to make some announcements before we get started. I want to first acknowledge the source of all creation, the Galactic Federation, the foundation for the law of time, the Jewel University of Immortal Sciences, star elders, ancestors, master teachers, indigenous elders, the mimic priesthood. Some special acknowledgments goes out to Tainetta Muhammad of the Nation of Islam, Kin 67, Balloon Votan Jose Arguelles, Kin 11, Red Queen Stephanie South, the current director of the Foundation of the Law of Time, Kin 185, High Priestess Ma'at Makaru Amen, the High Priestess of the Mimic Priesthood, Kin 242, Dr. Jewel Pukram, Kin 210, and Vazak Votan Wanik Kimi Tahuti Shabazz, also known as the opener of the new cycle, Kin number 86. So I'm very excited to make those acknowledgments for those who have paved the way for us. And you will hear us constantly say that evolution is the solution. Just give you a little bit of background on myself. I have a background in entrepreneurship. I actually also did some work in the consulting space for government contracts in areas of business development and technology, logistics, etc. And it was just about 10 years ago that I came in contact with this particular cosmology that really answered all my questions and filled all the gaps. I always knew something was missing. I was always a pretty astute person when it came to personal growth and development. I always wanted to better myself. I even at times had positioned myself to be leaders. I've been a deacon of a church and all kind of things before, but it was something missing. And if you're listening to this, or you get to listen to this, and you realize, you know, I got most of the pieces, but I'm missing one or two pieces to put the whole picture together so I can thrive and operate on optimal levels. And that's kind of what happened with me. And so once I put those pieces together, it was the cosmology. I figured out something about time. So then once I figured out the manipulation of time and how it affected the mind or our minds, it blew me away. It made me not only want to go on a mission and learn as much as I could, but also I wanted to give back and teach. I wanted to share with people what I knew, because this is how you truly, step by step, can take possession of your own mind. You can take possession of your own mind. You just have to decide to. And then when your intuition leads you through these synchronicities, follow it. Now, most people are afraid to follow their intuition, and I'll tell you why they are afraid. A lot of it has to do with that it just doesn't sound like it's going to blend with what we got going on. I don't know about that. And here's the reason why it sounds like that. Intuition is always coming from a higher mind than the consciousness that you operate on. Okay. And so when we can think about that, when we get intuitive impulses, right, we can now say, okay, we got to have something called trust. But they used to say, if you don't trust, you're going to turn to rust. You got to trust. But this is not trusting a person. This is primal trust in your creation, primal trust in your incarnation, primal trust in the divine, that you're being led on a journey of remembrance to different states of enlightenment so you can fulfill your purpose on earth. People spend lots of time looking for their purpose their whole life, not even thinking about it. And I wasn't either, thinking about, man, you know what? you can't get into this physical experience without a purpose. You can't do it. So in lieu of that, I started looking into this pretty heavy, and I was blown away. One of the first things that I saw was some serious discrepancies with the Gregorian calendar, from a perspective that we're being programmed by the most subtle thing, a calendar. And when you really look at the calendar, it doesn't really make sense. But it's like the blind leading the deaf. It's like, okay, that's what everybody's doing. Let me put my dates on this calendar. Let me celebrate these holidays. Let me do X, Y, Z. Not even questioning the validity and the purpose of the calendar. I guess this is how I get my paycheck. This is how I do X, Y, Z. And so, with that, I started to question. I started to look at the calendar and say, okay, wait a minute. December, Deci means 10. So why is it the 12th month? And Nuevo or Nove means 9. Why is it the 11th month? And what Julius Caesar got going on and Augustus Caesar with July and August. And I start really looking into some of the meanings behind this. And I came up with the question, how am I following this? And how is it helping me to evolve? Well, the reason why I'm following it, because I didn't have nothing else to follow. And that's what everybody else was doing. That seemed like the right thing to do. And it seemed so subtle, right? But I didn't see how it could help me evolve. So I started looking into the 13 moon calendar and what we call the Zolkin, the 260-day calendar. Now, I found some very interesting information when I looked into those two calendars. One, I saw that the 13 moon calendar was literally describing the 13 moon cycles that are 28 days, their mean average of 28 days each. So I started looking and said, well, why do we got days of the month that are 30 and 31? If the moon cycle, we need to tie to something so all this is connected. Well, that was broken. I also saw how, and I was listening to one of our teachers at the school talk about how the 13 moon calendar was closely linked to the female reproductive system, that the female has 13 menstruation cycles a year. And that connection, that connection brings about a way to tap into parts, circuits of the mind that are dormant as well. All right, so I saw that. I said, okay, we're getting somewhere. Then I looked at this 260-day calendar. And the 260-day calendar, I said, now, why would we have something like this? Now, I'm going to really make you think here, okay? Because I want you to, can you go deep with me? Especially if you're new. If you're a new person listening to this will kind of shake you up, but we might need to shake some folks up right now. This conversation that I'm talking about ain't for everybody. This ain't to save humanity. This is for a handful of people that say, you know what? I'm tired of doing what's not making sense no more, and I want to take control of my life. I want to govern myself. I'm done with these governments and what they got going on. I just need to be self-governed and sovereign within myself. I need to figure out what my purpose is if I don't already know it, and I need to fulfill it, and I need to live my life on purpose. You see, if that's resonating with you, what I'm saying here is going to make so much sense. It's going to be hard for you to deny what I'm talking about. Okay, but this 260-day calendar, okay, did something to me. Let me tell you what it did. It changed everything because I saw that it was the cycle of gestation. You know what I mean? From inception to incarnation is roughly about 260 days, right? And so I said, wow. So we celebrate every year on the earth, but that's the earth cycle, right? It takes the earth 365 days to revolve around the sun. And that's great. That's the relationship between the earth and the sun. But the question that I have here is, what is your relationship with your incarnation? Is it that of the sun? Is it the 28-day lunar cycles? Those cycles help activate, right, what your purpose is here on this planet. But that's not your cycle. So when I started to follow the 260-day cycle, and actually we blended, we synchronized the 13 moon calendar with this 260-day cycle. And every time, every day, or we call it a plasma, is pregnant with purpose. Pregnant with purpose. And so when you're impregnated with purpose, that means you got to what? Carry out the purpose. And when you carry out the purpose, you reach a state of fulfillment and a frequency that magnetizes everything on that level of fulfillment that we're talking about. You see? That frequency is the new currency. But how can you have a high frequency if you don't understand what the relationship is between why you're here and how you're connected to your incarnation and where you even came from there and where you're going? You hear all this stuff about why you're here, and you get a job, right? You get a job, and that's fine. But let me tell you, the job ain't your purpose. See, my purpose, my kin number, you see all these people that I gave them acknowledgments to, they had kin numbers, didn't they? Kin, write this down, is knowledge integrated naturally, right? My kin number is kin 239, all right? And that is the 239th expression of source of the source of creation. And that expression is there to help me evolve. So as I was in the ethers coming into the physical, here I am going through each of the 260 expressions of the creator. I'm not going to make contracts on that one. I'm not going to make contracts. Here we go. This is 10. Oh, okay, here's 50. I ain't going to make contracts on that. It's 100. I ain't going to make contracts on that. 150. I ain't going to make contracts on that. 200. I ain't going to make contracts on that. 230. I ain't ready to come out my mom's womb yet. I'm not going to make contractions because that's the contract with your purpose on this planet. But boy, when 239 hit, I start making contractions because that's what I'm going to make my contract, and that's my purpose. So what is the affirmation for that expression? I'm going to tell you to you. Listen, I empower in order to catalyze. So let me tell you something. I know that if I'm not in a position to help people empower themselves or empower a situation or be empowered myself, I don't belong. It's out of alignment with my purpose. So I'm like a fish out of water at that point. You see? So the first line, right? And everybody got the first line. Everybody got the affirmation. This is why this is the origin of how you not just reach higher states of enlightenment, but how you evolve and carry out your purpose. This is the doorway. This is the archway to your purpose, right? So I empower in order to catalyze, commanding energy. I said, that sounds like me. That's what I do, right? I seal the matrix of self-generation. I'm a self-generator. I'm a self-starter. With the overtone tone of radiance, I'm passionate about what it is that I do, right? I'm guided by the power of accomplishment. I'm a results-oriented person. How many of you out there are results-oriented people? And if you're not, use something else. You need to find out what it is so that you can use it to illuminate you everywhere that you go. If you're a garbage person, okay, it's in sanitation, you take your purpose there. If you're a doctor, you take your purpose there. If you're in a mosque or a temple, you take your purpose there. If you're an IT person with security, you take your purpose there. You see? You take your purpose everywhere that you go. You couldn't even get in here without a purpose because you had to make some contractions to come through from the etheric realm into the physical realm. And then now you are God in a little body. And you got this vivid memory, but you can't do nothing. And they just wiping your memory. They're starting the programming and conditioning process. They put you in school to do all this kind of stuff to get your memory on programs. And you forgot and got in the state of amnesia about your spiritual purpose. And this helps revitalize it, right? I'm guided by the power of accomplishment. I said, that sounds like me. If I'm not accomplishing nothing, I'm saying, I'm looking around saying, well, what am I doing? Now, that's my affirmation. You need to find out your affirmation and you need to live in it because I love it, right? Ken 65 said, pregnant with purpose. That means you got to carry your purpose. And when you carry your purpose, everybody can see what you're working with. And they'll tell you that person's purpose is to empower people. Look at how he's leading people. Look at how he's commanding the energy of himself and others to be the best version of themselves while in this body. You see that? That's power, because now you have a degree of certainty to operate with versus asking somebody else, can you do a reading for me? Could you do a test on me and tell me what I'm interested in? Can you do this? And so we in a state of mind where AI does all the thinking for you. Let's do a personality test on you so I can tell your personality. I don't need a personality. I'm an evolved being. And my intuition tells me and guides me. It's part of my emotional guidance system. And it's the same for you if you just listen to it. But it's going to sound scary. Because why? Because when you call on yourself, the power of God in you to guide you to a higher ground, a different voice is going to speak to you from a higher state of consciousness. And it's going to seem like it ain't going to work. It may cause you to do something and say, that don't sound quite right. That might be the devil. No, it's not the devil. It's a higher consciousness that's taking you higher than you were so you can get out of the situation that you're in when you called on yourself. Right? So don't trust it. Move forward. So what if we go through a little adversity? Ain't nothing wrong with a little challenge. Ain't nothing wrong with getting little spiritual muscles in the process. Right? So each person has been born in a moon, right? There's 13 moons. These moons start in the summertime. They don't start in the spring. They don't start in the winter, right? Why do they start in the summertime? Well, they start in the summertime because they are based on the star Sirius, which is 2 times the size as the sun. And it's said to have evolutionary, that the light. So the whole thing with 2012 is that was the first time in 26,000 years that star Sirius and our sun were face to face, right there with each other. They were the closest that you could be with them 2 heavenly bodies together. And so they were charging each other up. That's why the sun has gone through all these different phases. You start looking at sunspots and all that kind of stuff, you really can get into some deep stuff. So star Sirius, now, because of that, this is rewriting now the next phase of evolution of humanity. That's why we talk about the synchronistic human. So now the light of star Sirius, did you know it takes Sirius B 52 years to revolve around Sirius A? And the cosmology that we follow is so close to that. We have 52-year paths of destiny to kind of explain where we've been and where we're going. And when we're clear on that, I don't care who it is. And when we're clear on that, there's nothing that can stop us, not even us. Because you've overrode the program. The program is always going to have you be a limited version of yourself, because the self is the unlimited power of God. Now, why am I telling you this? Because we're in a day and age where artificial intelligence is just taking over our thought process. It's so good. Artificial intelligence is so good, we don't even got to think no more. These children today, they get upset when they got to think. Oh, you mean I got to think? Yes, in critical thinking skills, you got to think. It's time to figure it out. Right? Yeah, figure it out. Problem solve. Right? And then get into AI. Don't lose your absolute intelligence of some artificial stuff. Right? Play with the artificial stuff. That's play stuff. But we have faculties and technologies within ourselves, our own being, that's lying dormant, and they're atrophying right now because we're getting so much attention to things outside of ourselves. And you know, the keys to all the power in the universe is within. Your link to unlimited power is your subconscious mind. And so as we make those links and we tie in a cosmology that shows us step by step how to do this on a consistent basis, consistency is the real muscle. We want to move from random success, right, into intentional success. I like to call it intentional fortitude. You see? And so as we develop this, we start getting different kind of insights. Let me tell you why the insights are so important. Because imagination and creativity is key. But here's why the insights, this is what I want you to do. It's not the insights, it's the sight in. It's how you see yourself. See, how you see yourself is going to determine, are you in a knowing that you can fulfill the vision that was planted in the insight from yourself in the first place. So you could be a visionary, and then you got to say, man, I got to go through some more school. You're a visionary, let me write this book first. I got a vision, let me go ahead and start up this church or this mosque. I got a vision, man, I need some more money before I can do all of that. I'm telling you that your self-image is the money. How you see yourself is going to determine what you're able to be, know, do, and have in this experience here on earth. And this holographic experience that you're projecting from the inside out. You see, that's what it's going to be. It's going to determine, right? Be, know, do, have. Self-image. And so the self-image is how you see the unlimited power that's already in you. It walks with you. It talks with you. It's there to consult you, but we don't use it like that. We kind of use it when we're in a jam, right? And then we don't listen to it. We ask it to help us out of the situation, but then we don't listen to what it tells us when it gives us answers. I'm telling you to try this on and see how it fits, right? I'm telling you to take what you got and listen to your intuition. And even if it feels awkward, even if it feels like that you about to make a mistake, do it anyway. Make a big mistake, learn big, but it ain't gonna be a mistake. Because what's gonna happen is this, watch this. You're gonna gain something called confidence in your what? Self. Right? First. And how do you know you got confidence in yourself? Because you confide with yourself, your innermost being, first. Not your best friend, not your mama, not your daddy, not whoever is your teacher. You confide with yourself first, and you see how everything else aligns with that. And you trust that. And watch what's going to happen to your life. Watch everything you touch start turning to gold. Watch, your children might just start listening to you. The people in your family might start taking you seriously, because I've done this. Let me tell you, it's amazing. Over the past 6 years, I've done over almost 1,500 sessions. I'm 3 away now. 1,500 sessions, coaching sessions on teaching people how to integrate this type of thinking into their life. And I'm blown away that when they start, they focus outside of themselves, and they're having all kind of complex situations, conflicts within themselves, right? Psychosomatic experiences, they don't know. Spiritual warfare. And I start to help them reorient themselves, not to that, and not to me, but to their own divinity. And all of a sudden, I don't hear nothing else about none of that stuff. I don't hear no utterance of spiritual warfare. I don't hear no utterance of white supremacy or something like that. I don't hear any other. I hear a focus on the self, and I see a mind that's elevating in a way I didn't see before, is what I see. And so that's why I'm so inspired to share, because that's what happened with me. We're in our 23rd semester of teaching the law of time and whole mind concepts to access the human technology that takes us into absolute intelligence. Which one you think is greater? Let's just look at it, right? I know artificial intelligence is good. I know it. It's fun. I know it has its place. But which one you think is more powerful? Little a, little I, artificial intelligence, or big A and big I, absolute intelligence? Which one? I'll tell you, I figured it out. It was absolute intelligence. And what I found in the world of the absolute, everything has already happened in this holographic universe. And me as an etheric being in a body now needs to take a focus on the experience that I want to help remember the totality of my being with. Or focus is. Imagine that. I got to wait to see what the government's going to do before I can do anything. Or I get to tap into myself and it tell me beyond this planet how great I've been in the ethers, and what I can do in the ethers I can do in the body. So I am playing myself short from that perspective. You're not here for what you think you're here for. You see? So I want you to think about what life would be like if you already had and knew you had and used what you had. The answers were from within, and you orchestrated your life that way. Would you be broke, or would you have prosperity in your finances? Would you be ill, or would you be well? Would your relationship be like, oh, everybody tripping, I'm just going to cut everybody off? Or everybody loves this person? There's such a service, such an example. And you got all these companions of destiny. You know what a companion of destiny is? It's somebody that's there, dedicated to help you carry out your purpose. They ain't even thinking about what they can get from you. They just there to help you access and reach your purpose, right? And so as we tap into this, absolutely, the omnipresent mind and the omnipotent mind, we can access through our subconscious mind and our capabilities. And when we do, there's nothing we cannot do. They say consciousness travels faster than the speed of light, 299 million kilometers per second. So that means once you get into alignment, because see, anything that you experience, any pain that you experience, any discomfort, any dissatisfaction is coming from the idea that you misalign, you have a blockage, or you got some kind of confusion from a conflict. Because abundance doesn't flow into a conflict. And so that's the enemy of our mind, of our own mind, is within ourselves, is to create confusion on how to evolve. That'll put you at a standstill faster than anything else. But what if I'm right? What if I could show you how to think this way, and whatever things that are really got you twisted and got you all messed up in your life, what if I could show you how you could turn all that around instantaneously? Like I said, I've done all this coaching, so I don't care who it is. It works. Because we're talking about universal principles, and we're not just talking about on a physical level. That's where people mess up. We're talking about a spiritual level, and we ain't just talking about a spiritual physical level. And we're talking about the rainbow. We're talking about an energetic light level too. And that's the missing piece. Because when you connect all three and they in balance, you can manifest at will. You can create at will. And at that point, everything, you come to the realization that everything you see is not just a holographic projection of your mind, it's a reflection of your innermost being. So if something shows up in your physical experience that you don't like, it's something in you that's projecting that. And instead of you trying to fix the outer, you fix the inner. And now when you re-project it, you won't see that no more. You won't see it. You won't see it. And I know that this is true. And all I need to do is reach a few people. Most people will say, well, I don't know about that. Yeah, because let me tell you, there's two types of acceptance, self-acceptance. There's the self-acceptance as a victim, where we accept everything the way it is. ICE is doing this. These presidents do this. They won't let us do this. You know, they treat these type of people like this. And so I guess I just have to accept it. And we have to call in whatever we can, karma, in on the people who are doing this so they'll stop. And we become a victim of circumstance with that kind of self-acceptance. We accepting things for the way they are, not even knowing yet that we can change it. Okay, well, so what we just work around it. Right? Then we see some other stuff. Okay, I can't do nothing about that. I got to work around that. And so you in this maze, you just going and in this maze, and you keep coming back to the same point, 0 point. How many of y'all ready to thrive now? How many of you ready to elevate? Let me tell you what, let me give you something else to think about this deep that really threw me over the edge. You want to hear it? I listened to a scientist say that it was his projection that we have over 100 million years plus of memory stored in my brain, in our brains. I said, what could that, who are you carrying around all that memory and not using it? Most people, ain't no way you could tell me they even using 1 million years of memory for this lifetime, because their mind is on the programs. They're distracted. They hadn't figured out, wait a minute, I don't need to be focused on that. I need to be focused on tapping into this memory. That's why it's a journey of remembrance. So if we're only using 1 million years of 100 million, we're not using 100 millionths of what we're doing yet. Do you understand? We're not using 1 millionth of what we're doing. It's not even 100 million. We're only using 1 million years. That means are you hearing me? 99 more million years that we could be tapping into and remembering and seeing how that affects our being versus looking at the outside to affect the inside. When I saw that, I said, I'm on this journey of remembrance. I'm evolving through my memory. And then I start to link things and say that memory takes me to higher states of consciousness. And I said, Neb Taharka, if you get a higher state of consciousness, are you going to use it? You're daggone right I'm going to use it. I need to see what this higher state of consciousness can do and cause me to be. And so now this has been a 10-year process. And I can say from experience, I'm something that I never would have been hadn't I came and took this path. And I wasn't even supposed to take this path. That's how the opportunity comes in sly disguises. That's what I'm going to talk to you about before we go. Opportunity comes in sly disguises. And think about opportunity is this. You don't know if this is your first opportunity or your last opportunity to effectuate change. You got to get 2 big opportunities to effectuate change in your life. That's what people say. And if this is one of them, and it is, you don't know if this is your first or your last. And you got to come here and reincarnate all over again with the juice box and the car seat and try to get your memory back intact because they don't wipe it clean and figure all this out in the next lifetime. Or you can figure it out right now. You can go on your own journey of remembrance, not mine, not somebody that you admire, your own journey of remembrance, and rediscover the unlimited power of yourself and be able to master yourself so you can live the life that you deserve and that you design, not from the default program that was designed for you to be limited. You see? Opportunity comes in sly disguises. So today's kin, we're on kin expression number 46. The affirmation for this kin reads as follows. Right, kin 46, the white resonant world bridger states, I channel in order to equalize, inspiring opportunity. You see, so you'll know what opportunity is going to inspire you. It's going to have a sly disguise in front of you. You say, wait a minute, there's something about that though. Let me look a little deeper into it, and found you ran into a gold mine. I seal the store of death. Death, in this sense, not morbid. Death is the knowledge of life. I seal the store of death means I need to end these cycles where I'm living in lack and limitation. And now I can open up the cycles where I'm living abundantly in the new time, right? With the resonant tone of attunement, I can attune my energy. I can attune my frequency to this. And I'm guided by the power of endlessness, the endless mind, the meditative mind of the source creator themselves. And so we say this affirmation 3 times to imprint it in our mind, our corpus callosum, so that frequency can radiate out into the ethers and return a physical and spiritual equivalency in our life, right? I channel in order to equalize, inspiring opportunity. I seal the store of death with the resonant tone of attunement. I am guided by the power of endlessness. One more time to lock it in. I channel in order to equalize, inspiring opportunity. We inspire some opportunities to come our way right now. I seal the store of death with the resonant tone of attunement, and I am guided by the power of endlessness, reflecting the synchronic order. Time being the evolution of consciousness, not a clock or a calendar. That time in the 4th dimension is the evolution of consciousness. And if all you did was focus on evolving consciousness in your life, what could you create, Eshe? What could you create, Ariel? Ojiame? What could you create if you just kept evolving consciousness and going from 1 million years of memory to 2 million to 4 million to 8 million to 16 million to 32 million, 64 and 128 million is 100 plus million years? Who would you be in this physical body, and how would they have to deal with you? You would be off limits. You're out of their jurisdiction. You don't fit the profile for the program any longer. You just decoded the matrix. And now you operate with a degree of autonomy as your divine self. And now you get to wake other souls up on this planet a different kind of way. You got all the resources that you need to create the resources that you want, to create the resources that can help you create anything you desire. What kind of life in masterful way of being will that create for you, whoever you are, listening right now? If you're a new person, you need to get your kin number. What are you doing? If you want to override programs, instead of them controlling your mind, that's all this is mind control. The 5 senses are programmed to control your mind by this system until you break out and realize that you came here for something greater. And now you have to pattern your mind with different cycles. You can't follow the same programs that keep you mentally incarcerated if you're evolving. You got to follow cycles that unleash your mind so you can be something you've never been in this body. So you can go places you've never been. So you can teleport if it's needed, disappear. Use the human technology that you don't even know that's available to you. And so that's what I'm here to catalyze today. That's what I'm here to invite you to today. So we put some links in here in the chat so that you can find out what your kin number is. We call it your galactic signature. And that's the gateway into you figuring out your purpose. We'll help you do it. You know what I figured out? I figured out that when I figured out my galactic purpose, the things that I did on Earth became a lot easier. I wasn't afraid no more to be who I am. I didn't have to win. I surrendered. I didn't need control because you didn't have no weapon that was strong enough to take me out. My purpose, if I have a galactic purpose and I come to this Earth, I'm not just a number any longer that you could just take out. I'm here and the Earth is protecting me. All the species on the planet will come and pluck your eyes out because I'm linked to all the species on the planet. I'm not just linked to how I can advance myself. And so once you figure that out, how you living and how is your lineage now? How is your ancestral line now? Once you figure this out, well, we're going to find out. I like to say it's only one way to find out. So what I want you to do, we're going to take some questions here in just a second. But what I want you to do, if you don't have your kin number, I want you to definitely message me or hit that link and get your kin number. And I want you to definitely reach out to me. You can reach me. I'll put my email in here in just a few moments where you can email me and we'll link up and get you started on your path. So you ain't worried about is ICE gonna come to your town and take you out. You gotta go, you a galactic being on this planet. They taking out people who don't know who they are. Not that it's right or wrong, but when you figure out who right or wrong, they're gonna skip right over these. You become invisible because this is your holographic universe on this planet. So email me. Let's have a conversation. Also, I want to invite you to a very, very, very powerful session that we're going to do. Tomorrow at 10:30, we have something called Living Abundantly in the New Time. And we're going to be on the 47th expression of the Creator, right? The blue galactic hand, right? Knowing equals accomplishment is what we're going to talk about. So once you know, knowing is synonymous with doing and being accomplished. We're going to talk about that tomorrow in a very dynamic way. We want to invite you so you can come and kick the tires and see what's going on at the Synchronistic Human School of Enlightenment that people are excited about with this abstract cosmology. You see? So it's true. Evolution is the solution. Let's take some questions. If you have a question, definitely you can put it in the comments, chat, and we'll answer your question. And if we need to expound on your question, I will link with you sometime after this session or within the next couple of days at the latest. And we will get your question answered. But listen, you got some questions. If you don't have any questions, you should have some questions. I got questions because I'm not where I want to be, but I'm headed there. I know how to get there. You see? But I want you to get your questions answered so we can see your story unfold on this planet. We need to hear your story. We need to hear how dynamic you are. and how your level of dynamism is going to inspire so many people to come from out of accepting things the way they are, and they come into the self-acceptance that says, I am the source and I am the creator of my own experience. Get out of my way. Here I come with my kin number and these galactic cycles, and it's unlocking my mind, and I'm going deeper into this memory. And in this memory, I'm finding power to galvanize my self-image in such a way that you can't make me feel like I'm less than I really am. You can't talk down to me. You can't belittle me, because it ain't no way you can belittle me, because I know that I know that I know who I am. Now get out of my way, or either you're going to be part of the steamroller or you're going to be part of the pavement. But I'm warning you, I'm coming. With that being said, I don't see any questions, but if you do, please email me. Join our session, okay? Join our session tomorrow, and let's evolve together. So I would say, in Lakesh means I am another you. Alakim means you are another me. And then I would say Hotep, Hetipu, and Namaste. And remember, and don't ever forget, that evolution is the solution. Enjoy the rest of your creation. We'll see you tomorrow at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time, a.m. Peace.